Hi, everyone. Robin McCoy with Crushing It with Your Tribe. And on this episode, we're going to talk about budgeting and budgets, whether for personal or for business, so that you can use a budget to make better spending decisions. So stay tuned.
As a Texas realtor, Robin McCoy is in the unique position to meet and know so many different people in a wide range of industries. These people are her tribe, and she leverages them not only to help her business, but to help theirs as well. Welcome to Crushing It with Your Tribe, where we share real talk about building business and life relationships. Here is your host, Robin McCoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Relax, I Got This. I am your hostess, Robin McCoy, a Texas realtor. And, I come in contact with so many people with so many different things going on. And it seems like lately I've been in that money realm. And today we're going to talk about budgeting. We're going to talk about budgeting with Sarah Elledge of Every Penny Accounts. So she says budgeting is simply the habits of how you manage your money. Everyone has a budget style, even if you think you don't have a budget style. So better yet, she's going to teach you how to use your budget to make spending decisions and how easy it is to adjust your budget throughout the month because life happens. Stuff happens, right? I mean, cars break down, kids need money for school, those sorts of things. So Sarah is a solopreneur and a budget expert, certified YNAB coach, course creator, and a mama to an 18-year-old. You don't look old enough to have an 18-year-old. So welcome to the show, Sarah.
Hi, thank you. Awesome to be here.
So let's just kind of back up and let's talk about what you did before, because I know you worked for accounting companies or for companies in their accounting department, that sort of thing. So tell me a little bit about just kind of your background, I guess.
So I started in retail, as most of us do in our lives. And so I have a 15-year background in retail, starting when I was 13 at the family jewelry store.
Okay.
Wanting to get out of that, I spent the next decade in accounting. And I bring up retail because I even approach my accounting with a client-centric focus. How are we making our clients' lives, days easier? And you have opportunities for that even in the back-end accounting department.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
We just see you back there with your abacus, moving moving numbers around. We don't know really what goes on back there.
You're not far from it. But accounting has a lot to do also with operations. They often work very closely together, and so I've been pulled into a lot of different spaces. I've had the chance to explore a lot of things like building a website, doing social media, even before I decided to solopreneur. And so this is kind of me putting it all together and just going for it.
Well, that's perfect. What made you decide to get out of the working for someone else mode and into doing something for yourself?
Honestly, I have been looking for a place that puts me as high on a pedestal as I put myself. I don't know if that sounds too, selfish, but I know what I'm worth, and I'm apparently really bad at communicating that in an interview. And so I decided that no one is going to speak up for me more than me. And
Right.
I just needed to go out and do it.
Well, and I think, sometimes that is our greatest fear, right? Is just stepping off that ledge, even though we've got all these skills and this knowledge that we've been doing whatever it is we're going to go do for someone else. And now it's time for us to do that for us.
Exactly.
And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. It's scary.
It's terrifying, but it's
It's
also
terrifying.
thrilling.
All right, so let's talk about this. So I've heard of YNAB actually just recently. Through one of my coaching programs, it was brought up. And it is so what is YNAB? It's that's an acronym. So let's tell people what that is.
Yeah, so YNAB is short for You Need a Budget, and they're actually doing a complete rebrand right now, and they're taking it from You Need a Budget to YNAB because it's caught on so much. And basically, it's a set of money management principles that this guy, Jesse Meekum, came up with when he was broke as a joke, trying to figure out what to do next. Um, and he came up with these money management principles. The 4 rules is what they're called. And then along the way, he has developed this beautiful, clean app to help you work through those rules in with your money in a budget. And so it started as like a downloadable Excel spreadsheet, and it's morphed into something similar to Mint or Every Dollar, if I want to name a couple of big
Okay.
ones that other people might
So that
know.
people may have heard of.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing. It's interesting you say you have a budget even if you think you don't, because maybe it's that you aren't following it. You're just your budget is I spend as much money as in my account on whatever I want to. Maybe
Exactly.
that's your budget style.
Yep.
Um, so how at what I mean, I don't know what my question is. Um, when is it that someone needs to like call you and say, "All right, I need help." Is this the year that you're going to stop paying rent? Is this the year that you are going to finally purchase your own home? But where do you start? How do you get your questions answered? Well, I'm Robin McCoy, and I'm a Texas realtor with Keller Williams. Relax, I got this. I have a home buyers masterclass the first Saturday of every month, and it's free to you, and it's all online. Just text the word masterclass to 214-226-3770, and we'll get you registered and on the path to home ownership. When is it that someone needs to like call you and say, "All right, I need help. I'm a
Right.
mess. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm paying my bills every month, but I got my tax season, right? I got my
Right.
W-2 and I showed I made all this money, but I don't have any.
Right.
Where did it
Right.
go? How can I learn to manage that?" So at what point do they come to you? Maybe at
Yeah.
that point.
So, as a budget coach, you can honestly come to me at any point in your budgeting process. Whether you're just getting started and you want to implement more structure into your money, or maybe you've been doing this for a while, but you have a couple of major decisions coming up and you want to make sure that your finances can handle those changes. And so you're just reaching out for a sounding board from someone who knows and has seen it. So, as a budget coach, honestly, what got me into it was it took me about 2 years to figure out how to work this app correctly.
Wow. Wow.
2 years
And this is
of
somebody that has a financial accounting background.
And honestly, that was probably part of the problem
Oh,
because
you knew too much?
I knew too much and I was trying to make it like do these things that I wanted it to do instead of submitting to the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so once I figured out how to release my control first and really dive into the program, it absolutely changed my life, my husband's life, my son's life. And we're just 3 of thousands where it's just transformed our complete relationship with money. Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. And, I think a lot of people and I don't know, maybe I'm just talking through age or something here, but I think people are different, and the way we look at money is
Mhm.
very different than it was 25, 35 years ago.
Mhm.
And I don't know that we teach our kids how to manage money like we should.
Mm-mm.
Um, or
No.
maybe it's different how you manage it today than you did when we were 20.
Well, a lot of people start forming these money beliefs when they're under 10 years old. You mentioned my son. He's my stepson. And he was actually born the year I graduated high school. And so I do look young. And when I first came into the family, it was really the first intimate look at other people's like money habits that I had been in. I had never been in another committed relationship where I had to like integrate finances and things like that. And so people form these money beliefs as young as 5 or 6, and even now my kid, he's 18. I came in when he was 7. Even now I'm seeing traces of, wow, I bet he got that from, way back when I
Right.
when I was seeing that behavior. And it's like you have to be ready to be aware, because you have to get real honest with yourself about why you believe whatever it is that you're believing.
Right.
um
So what are some of those beliefs when you say we get these beliefs around money, such
so
as
glad you
what?
asked. So I
We didn't even
actually
plan that, y'all. We didn't plan that. I just asked it.
That's perfect. So like right now, um a lot of us are working through scarcity. Okay.
Yes.
And so scarcity can show up in a number of ways, and a lot of maybe easily recognizable ways is, oh, I'm not buying this, or the scarcity of money. I don't want to purchase things because the money will get smaller, or I don't want to use things because I will have to replenish it with this scarce money. And I actually just made a post about this. I have a hair clip, and it's got 6 little prongs on it, and 4 of my prongs are missing. And I have been using this clip broken because if I throw it away, I have to buy more. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, Sarah Renee, that's what you say when you're in trouble. Sarah
Yes.
Renee, you've had this $3 pack of 10 clips. You're on your last one 2 years later. Here's your
It's
permission
okay.
to let go. And so, and it hit me like a ton of bricks that I was coming out of a client call, and we were talking about what issues she was dealing with
Yeah.
scarcity. And then it just started illuminating in my own life. And I looked at this stupid
Yeah.
clip.
Isn't that funny how we do that though? Isn't that funny?
It's
And
it's insanity.
yeah, and it's oh, it's like, and you were talking to this client, so that activated your reticular activation system in your brain. So now all of a sudden you're seeing this little broken over clip. You're seeing, why
I didn't have a problem with it before that call.
and you're trying, you realize you're like scraping the toothpaste out of the tube or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But it is scarcity, especially in these days and times with
Yeah.
inflation and the things like that that are going on. Scarcity is a real feeling. It's a real emotion. Like,
Oh
where's
yeah.
that? I'm gonna have to go spend $5 on new hair clips. Even though you've got $5, it's not like it's going to, keep you from paying rent.
Right.
But
Well,
it's
but and
still, now I got to go do that.
yeah,
And it comes out of the budget.
comes out of the budget. So, and we play funny little games in our house, like how cheaply can we feed all three of us? And I'm not talking like mac and cheese out of a box. We eat fairly healthy, whole foods, lots of fruits and veggies, good clean protein. And there's some nights where I can feed 3 humans for $2 or $3
Yeah.
total.
Yeah.
And so when I'm looking at this pack of $5 hair clips, I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's not for everyone. That's not a meal for everyone. And
Right. Right.
it's not every meal. Of course, it's that cheap. But then you start getting these other thoughts and feelings, and you just have to learn to distinguish, like, how do I say this? Not what's important, but what is maybe actionable.
Right.
I can go get some new clips and I can still feed my family um, a low cost meal.
Yeah.
It doesn't replace it.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes. It's not clips or lunch.
yes, it's, it's
But now
clips and
sometimes,
lunch.
yeah, but sometimes, okay, so there are financials. I mean, we're talking, little hair clips, but then the car breaks, the brakes go out. You need new tires. It's about to be 110 degrees here in the Dallas area and your air conditioner breaks.
Oh,
Or,
yeah.
like you said, life happens. So, how do we prepare for that so it doesn't come to, well, it's either, we eat mac and cheese out of a box for 99 cents I don't know what mac and cheese costs anymore. I don't-
It's not
so our
99 cents.
a dollar a box, we're going to Big Lots and getting it expired off the shelf.
Yeah.
Um, but eating mac and cheese every meal because I've got to pay, I've got to keep my car working because I have to go to work. So
Right.
how do we set up those budgets so so that we can take care of the big things that show up?
So this is where YNAB shines like the sun. The first rule in YNAB is give every dollar a job. And so that means when you get paid and you have your bucket of money, you disperse that money into all of these little mini buckets. If you're
Okay.
familiar with the cash envelope system, where
Mhm.
you have all the different envelopes, YNAB is simply um, a digital cash envelope system, if you will.
Okay.
And so you would tuck away your money for your groceries and your rent and your bills. And usually the first chunk of your paycheck is really allocated towards those monthly living expenses. But then when you get those allocated for, you have a couple of $100 to make decisions with. And
Okay.
that's where you can say, okay, I'll put $75 this month away for a car repair emergency. I'll put $50 away for the vacation next year. I'll put this money away for summer camp. I'll put, whatever. And so you start, after you cover what Dave Ramsey calls your 4 walls,
And let's
um,
let's talk about what those are. That's what rent.
rent,
Oh,
utilities, food, and I believe transportation as well.
okay.
And so, and if not, those are my 4 walls.
Well,
And
yeah,
so
we
what?
want to keep the roof over our head. We want to make
Mhm.
sure we've got electricity, water to keep everything going. We want to make
Yep.
sure we have food to eat and a means to get to work.
Yep. Yep. And I would consider those flat basics.
Mhm.
And so after you cover those, that's when you start to get to decide, what kind of future preparation am I doing now? And one of the things that YNAB encourages, and they don't force any of this on you, but they're going to encourage it really hard. A lot of people will have like an emergency savings. Dave Ramsey's a big fan of that $1,000, which is like, you'll blow through that in 10 seconds for an emergency.
For a real emergency, yeah.
Yeah. And so, if you're someone who's got an emergency fund and you're like, what is an emergency? Name it. Okay.
Right.
This $500 is for a car emergency. This $600 is for a house emergency. And that way, when something happens, it's not just, I'm pulling from my emergency. It's this big unknown. But when you name it, you're like, I put $500 away for this. And the bill's $475.
Go buy a new tire. So now I can go buy a new tire because I had $500. I've got $500 sitting there for a car emergency.
Not only can you buy a new tire, you can buy a good tire. How many times have we been forced to buy something that we really didn't want, but it's what we could afford?
When they say, well, here's this tire, and you go, ooh, and they go, well, here's the other one. I don't recommend it. And somebody who knows nothing about tires, you're going, ooh, is it really bad?
Can I pass an inspection with it?
I mean, is it going to, right.
The first 10 years of my driving career, I drove on used tires. In all fairness, I took out a lot of back right tires, but there were a lot of times in my life where I was just like, I can't afford a new tire, so I went and got a used tire even.
Yeah. So, I mean, and these are important things, right? I mean, because we're talking about tires. That's a safety issue. That's flat out a safety issue.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want to be able, if you're going to be you and your loved ones, your kids in a vehicle that you're driving, you want it to be safe. And if you don't budget or allocate that chunk of money, then you're going to have to shortchange that. And nobody really wants to do that.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're only young and dumb once, but there have been more times than I would like to admit. I've been on the road and just like praying to God, this car is going to go straight and get me there.
Yeah. Well, and I think, whether it's a car that we're driving or it's a job that we're in, or it's just, I think a lot of times most people have those periods of their life at some point. And it could be when they're young, it could be when they're old, it could be at any time. And I think, we get this, and so here's, I'm a realtor. I talk to people all the time and they say, well, I just can't afford it. And I'm trying to save the money, but I don't know how, or I don't feel like I have enough money to save the money. And really, a lot of times I think it's just, they just don't know what they're spending on things, right?
Yep. They don't have the clarity of this was my plan, and how did I do according to my plan?
Well, it's setting benchmarks and goals, right? So I want to save. So let's just say in 2024, I want to buy a house and I'm going to need, $10,000 for a down payment. I'm just making up numbers right now.
Yep.
How would you tell me to do that? When I stand here in 2023 saying, how on earth can I save $10,000?
Be the leader you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
How on earth can I save $10,000?
So the first thing I would do is make sure you have a budget that works for you. It's one thing to have something set up that you're just kind of about. It's another thing to have something that you can make spending decisions from. And so first of all, I would challenge everyone to find a system that works for you. An Excel sheet, a budget planner, a physical something, anything. From there, you can start to kind of plug in maybe how much money you need just for your living expenses, to live the life you want to live.
Yeah.
And I would first say, make sure you have enough money to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Because sometimes it flows back and forth, and so we don't really know
yeah,
what we're spending, right? We
right,
just go to Kroger and we spend the money. And
right,
one week it's more than the next week because
right.
we just go get what we need.
We just go get it. Yeah. And so when you with YNAB, it's built on the principles of zero-based budgeting. And so first of all, you're only working with money in your bank account. You're not forecasting next week's paycheck. No,
Okay.
that it is not guaranteed. You cannot put that into your budget today.
Hmm.
And then the second rule of theirs is embrace your true expenses. So that's where we talk about, setting aside money for the car repair and things like that. And once you have those two set in YNAB, you can set up little targets that say, I need $100 for this every month. Anyway, when you go through, you set up your budget and you set your targets, it will tell you how much you need this month to live that life you just set out.
Hmm.
And so you can say, oh, well, based on all these targets that I set, I need $2,500 a month in income, and I only make 22. Okay, well, this is why you can't save for a house.
Because we need to go
Because
figure out where that other 300 plus is
yes,
coming from.
yes. So it's do we buy generic brand things for a little while? Do we set aside our push for debt payoff and maybe make some minimum payments for a while and save up for a house? And so there's really so many different scenarios. But I would say, first of all, if you're not giving every dollar a job, and if you don't have some sinking funds, which are just little funds where you stash money away for those rainy day things like your car
Yeah.
blowing up, if you don't have those in order, you're not going to really have a true vision of what you have saved for a house, because imagine you've got $7,000 in your savings account and you're trying to get to that 10. Well, okay, your AC went out. And this is where naming that savings,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So
Because
I'm
now
not
it's got to come out of the house account, not the car account.
yeah. And so if it's just sitting there as like $7,000, you're just like, "Oh, okay, well, now I'm further from my goal of saving that 10." Well, technically, you didn't really have 7 set aside. You
Right.
had maybe 4 set aside, and you have 3 grand for the AC blowing up, the car blowing up, the dog getting sick, the kid getting sick. And so that's where giving every dollar a job. Once you've covered these things, you say, "Oh, I can safely put away $150 a month for a house. That's not going to get me to 10,000 next summer. What
But
can
it's
we do?"
also, I know that's for the house. And
Exactly.
now I can really look at that instead of kidding myself that I have 7,000, I can see that I have 4 and I can make different decisions about what I want to do about that.
Yes, yes. The money is safely tucked away in its category, just living its best life, waiting for a house
Waiting
instead
for
of
all its other dollar friends to come on.
yeah,
Join it.
yeah,
One thing I want to say, because there's a lot of emotions around money, right?
uh-huh,
And there's a lot of fear around money. There's a lot of facades. people, we put things up so it looks like we have this when we really have that. I think I want to
Keeping up with
stress
the
that
Joneses.
and that understand that there's no shame in calling someone like Sarah and saying, I need help.
Yeah.
I'm all screwed up. I need help. I can't seem to unwind all of this. Because
Yeah.
she's a no judgment zone. Right? She's there to help. That's why she does what she does. Because I've known Sarah for a little while. We knew each other from ABWA, and I've known her for a while, and I know she wants to help people. I know she wants to, she cares about what's happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a no judgment zone.
Well, and that's one of the things that I learned working in small business accounting. A lot of these business owners, this business is not just numbers on a paper like it is for me. This is literal blood,
this is
sweat, and tears. This is
their
time
livelihood.
away from their spouse to get it started, time away from their kids. This is serious. And when I come in and see something unfavorable, I have to work on helping my small business owner understand that this is not a jab at you or your decisions or your management or your life. This is simply the facts of what have happened. And if we are uncomfortable with those facts, we can decide right here, right now, together, how to move forward so we're not feeling this feeling again. Because feelings aren't something to run from. When you're running from your feelings, you're running from your body telling you something.
Yeah.
And it may be, hey, I don't like the way this bank balance feels. I need to do more. And instead of getting down on yourself, like, God, I did this to myself. I mean, if you need a moment, have it.
But don't
then
live there.
Don't live there. Step right out into, okay, now I can change it. Now that I'm aware, I can change it. And then if you don't know how to change it, you can call me and we can figure it out together.
Well, because sometimes it takes that outsider. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like anything else, right? Whether it's your personal account, whether it's a business, small or large, whatever it is, sometimes you just need those other eyes of somebody that doesn't love you, that can look at something and see it differently.
Yeah.
And able to point it out, whereas maybe your best friend doesn't want to hurt your feelings. So they go, oh, but it's okay. Whereas you're not trying to hurt somebody's feelings, but you've got to say, was this really what you intended to do when you did that?
Yes, exactly. Well, and I'm going to be real with you. All of my friends call me to tell them the truth. I'm an Enneagram 8. I will be blunt with you with so much love. I'm a Gemini, so I can also separate myself from what's happening. And it's turned out to be a crazy combo.
I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this. We've touched on a lot of different things, and the goal for what Sarah's doing is to help people utilize tools that are out there, coach them through that tool using that YNAB tool, and that's what she is certified as a coach to do, and help you navigate your personal finances. So what would what is some gem that you might drop on everybody that maybe we didn't talk about? What is something that you want them to know, whether about you or the process or any of that?
Oh my. It's all about habits. And just like you can practice the violin and get better at it, or practice writing and get better at it, budgeting is just takes a little bit of practice. And you know, it seems like everything else also, it's going to take a little bit of time in the beginning, but the more you get the hang of it, the less time it takes. And you don't have to have a lot of money to feel good about spending what you do have.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have all things Sarah in the show notes. There's all her contact information for you. It's nothing, again, we've had several shows on money, and it's a touchy subject, but the key to that is these folks that I bring in that I want to talk to, like I said, it's a non-judgment zone. They're there to help you figure out, and it doesn't mean you have to wait till you're in trouble. I don't want to, if it's like, this just isn't my forte and I need some help to get better at it so I don't mess it up later. I mean, understand your strengths, right? This kind of stuff is not my strength. So I have to go to other people I'm not doing my own taxes ever. I don't do my own bookkeeping for my business ever. So, but we've got to go to the people that it is their strength. And that is people like Sarah, who understand numbers, understand how they work, and can help you just figure it out. Just figure it out. So, all right, Sarah. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Crushing It with Your Tribe. I'm Robin McCoy, and just make sure you hit that subscribe button because we got a lot of good stuff here. So you don't want to miss an episode. We'll talk to you soon and see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for Crushing It with Your Tribe with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and her guests and to access your free resources and information discussed on this episode. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we will see you next time on Crushing It with Your Tribe with Robin McCoy.